Shrinking is back for a third go around, and my doctor tells me that at my age it's perfectly normal. Welcome back to Movies Good, Internet Bad. I'm Cory, that's Shane, and this is our spoiler filled review of the season 3 premiere of Shrinking. Shane, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. This is a great uplifting show, and I'm happy it's back.
Uplifting, but also knows when to pull you down and make you feel
Yeah,
sad too. So, everybody, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and let's dive right into this. Shane, let's recap season 2 a little bit,
yeah,
where we left off the characters before season 3. So, Jimmy had a pretty rough go. But he kind of has a cathartic moment at the end. He goes to
yeah.
the train station. He prevents Lewis from killing himself, and that's a full circle moment because that's the guy that caused the car crash that killed his wife.
Yep.
And he kind of comes to terms and he's at peace with his guilt. His daughter Alice spent much of the season kind of befriending the Lewis character, which kind of caused a rift between her and Jimmy. But by the end of it, they kind of got closer than they've ever been before, which is pretty cool. Paul, played by the great Harrison Ford, and probably the main reason that most people watch this show. Uh, he's pretty deep into Parkinson's progression, and he kind of tells the group at the end during the big Thanksgiving dinner that it's going to be a tough road and he's going to need their help getting through stuff. He's living with Julie, and he's finally accepted that he doesn't have to face the end of his career and his life by himself. Uh, Gabby has a little bit of a rough road in season 2, also some relationship issues. But it looks like by the end of it, Derek number 2, who is played by Damon Wayans, is given their relationship a real shot. Sean moved back in with his parents. He's running the catering truck. He's no longer a patient, but he's more of a actual member of the friend group here. He's got some work ahead of him when it comes to his relationship with his father, but it kind of seems like everything in this show, the theme has been, something bad happened. We're coming to terms with it, and I think season 3, the whole idea is going to be moving forward. So,
Yep.
last one here, Liz and Derek. They're trying to find a purpose now that their kids are grown and moved out. So Liz is going to help out with Brian and Charlie's new baby, which for Brian and Charlie, that's their big thing at the end of season 2. They're having a baby to arrive in just a few months, which I'm sure as we get into season 3, the baby will have arrived. So Shane, you got the chance to watch the premiere of season 3. How did you feel? For a show called Shrinking, it was a supersized first episode.
Yeah, it's interesting because I felt like this episode almost, while it did a lot of stuff to set up the season, we hit the ground running with every single character and set up their kind of arc for each of the plot threads. What was interesting is it felt a little bit like a finale,
Huh.
which,
Yeah, yeah.
spoiler
Okay.
alert, the final thing that happens in this episode is that Paul and Julie get married. And you
Right.
think like a big wedding is like a season finale type event, but they put it smack dab in the beginning of the season. So I found that super interesting. You know, generally those big set pieces are the,
Mhm.
uplifting, like everyone goes to an event at
Right.
the end of
Yeah.
a season. But in this one, they just started it right off the bat. But it did a lot of legwork. And at this point, we've got so many recurring characters that there was a lot of work to
There
do.
are so many
Uh,
characters on this show.
yeah. And I think each of them has a pretty decent setup. So with Jimmy and Alice, the big thing now is that Alice is getting recruited to go play soccer in college. So
College.
there's this, which is difficult for them because they've sort of had this journey together with their mom dying. Jimmy, obviously Jimmy's wife, and Alice's mom. And the goal, as you mentioned, is to move forward. And I think that's going to be a major theme for this show moving forward.
Moving forward.
No, it was kind of a delightful first episode, I felt. But we can talk about each of the different character arcs too. But pretty interesting, and I do worry a little bit that like one of the issues that we had with Ted Lasso season 3 is that all of the episodes became like an hour long and
Super
it
long.
really dragged. It seems like they did this in this episode. However, I think the runtimes do go down after this one.
Yeah. My biggest curiosity when it comes to a show like this is, well, I guess if you wanted to say there are 7 stages of grief, right? So theoretically, it could go 7 seasons.
Yeah.
But how much more juice is in the bottle when it comes.
Yeah.
They already renewed it for season 4. Right before the premiere of season 3, the news
Hmm.
came out that season 4 has been renewed. So there's two concerns there. One is how much storytelling do they have left for these particular characters, and two, I don't want to put anything out into the universe, but Harrison Ford is getting old. Like,
Yeah.
they got to get to shooting like right away.
Yeah. I had the same concern whenever they announced it. I'm like, he's 83 years old. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's hard to bank a recurring show on a character who's act or an actor that is that old. Ask the Star Wars sequels how that works out. Not to make light of anything, but like it is a real concern. I have the same concern with the Harry Potter show because John
Hmm.
Lithgow is pretty old, and like
Yeah.
that's going to be like a decade of filming.
Right.
So committing to stuff like that is difficult. But on the plus side, generally when something gets renewed before the season even airs, it means that everyone's super happy with it and they
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
doing well.
A
So
lot of
I think
confidence.
we're in for a pretty delightful season. The first episode I thought was great, but the reviews have been good so far. So we'll
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Strong reviews. It's always been reviewed pretty well. For what it's worth, I think this is better than Ted Lasso. I
Yeah, I
think
would
it's
agree.
it's more tightly written, and it doesn't play on just the shtick of Ted Lasso being overly positive and upbeat and whatnot. It's kind of the inverse of that. It's more everybody's super negative, but they find a way
Yeah,
through, which is much more my speed.
yeah.
But yeah, I like it more than Ted Lasso. I'm curious to see where it goes. I did want to ask you, how did you feel about the cinematography in this premiere episode? Because to me, everything seems like it looks a little bit different than it did in the first two seasons.
Uh, I don't know if the cinematographer changed. However, this entire first episode felt like it was shot at 1.8 f stop. Like everything was shot
Explain to us
super wide open.
what
Okay.
1.8 f stop means, Shane,
So
as our
on
resident photographer here.
every lens there's apertures, and the aperture is how open the lens can get, and the wider open that your lens can get, the smaller depth of field, the shallower depth of field that you have when shooting things. Every single close up in this show, the background is like creamy bokeh. Like
Mm,
there's some shots of Julie where she's wearing this like fur sweater thing, and
yeah.
like the fuzzes of her sweater are out of focus, but she's in focus. And it's like, it's really, really shallow depth of field, which is interesting because most sitcoms, like comedies, are not shot that way at
Don't do that.
all. So I
Yeah.
wonder if that's kind of why they're trying to make it feel like more of a premium sitcom where
Hmm,
it's a little bit more, no pun intended, depth to it
interesting.
than your typical like high key lighting type of look.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting, man. That you think that it might they might be trying to make it look like it's got a little bit more gloss and sheen than it did before. Sometimes in the world of filmmaking, when people shoot wide open like that, it's to hide stuff in the background. I don't think that's the case with this show. Like,
No,
I don't
probably
think
not.
they're cheaping out or shooting on green screen or anything like that where it would necessitate that. So it's probably what you're getting at about trying to make it look like it's got a little bit more zip to it. But
Yeah, probably so. But yeah, I just found it very interesting that it looks that way. Now everything looks razor sharp too.
oh
Like
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
what they're using to film it, but it's just like looks spectacular.
yeah. We're getting to a point with digital cinematography where it's insane how sharp everything is.
Oh yeah, it's like too sharp.
There are some people that is a school of thought, is that they want to go back to film, or like Matt Reeves when he shot the Batman was like greasing up the lenses to try to make it look
Hmm.
less perfect or whatever, because that way it doesn't necessarily look like real life. Because sometimes when you look at some of these streaming shows these days, it almost feels like you can reach through the screen and like they're
Yeah,
right there. It's like
yeah,
looking through a window, and
hmm,
less of watching something on a display, which is interesting. But um,
absolutely.
do you know how many episodes they're doing for this third season?
I don't for this season, but I do kind of wonder because we had such a big event in this episode what there is to talk or to go through in
Sure.
this season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's set up so that the main plot threads are going to be, Paul and Julie get married.
Yep.
It seems like Paul might go through a little bit more of his Parkinson's struggles than maybe he has in the past, it gets a
Mhm.
little bit more intense. There's a Michael J. Fox cameo in
Yes.
the very
Yeah. Yeah.
beginning,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I don't know if he's a recurring regular in this season. However, um, it seems like they're going to use him, which is interesting because obviously he has Parkinson's in real
In real
life. He
life. Yeah.
very famously has Parkinson's.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if they're going to use him as sort of like a jumping off point for Paul's story.
That would be pretty cool,
We've
actually.
got yeah, no, I think it's like it's a good way to return him to acting in a
Mhm.
role that's like made for
For
him,
him. Yeah.
basically.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got Gabby and Derek too. They're having a little bit of jokes about their relationship, but Gabby feels unfulfilled in her therapy work, and so I think she's going to try and maybe branch out. She might try and leave the practice, do something a little bit more intense. She said she wants to deal with like real trauma, not this trivial stuff, because most of the problems she deals with are like domestic arguments or
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Liz and Derek, their son comes back, and he's a kind of recurring joke throughout the entire episode where he just keeps showing up places. So I'm guessing that's going to be used ad
Throughout the
nauseum throughout
season.
the entire season, where he just like there will be a very dramatic moment, and they'll turn, and Matthew will be there
Hi.
just standing there. Yeah, he's stealing their food or something like that.
Yep.
Brian and Charlie have a pretty interesting story because the the whole dispute here is that the baby mama, who they're adopting the baby
Mhm.
from, wants to have a lot of input and control into the parenting and the decisions, and they want to set a boundary.
Hmm.
And that's going to be a journey for them because Brian famously does not like to set boundaries.
It's a great real life
Um,
thing to have to think about, though, too, because in the world of adoption, that is a
yes.
concern for lots of people. So,
Yes. And then I think I read that is it Kobe Smulders?
yeah.
Is that her
Hmm.
name? She was in season two.
Yep.
I think she's returning in this season.
You
So
are
I
correct.
think Jason Segel is going to have some new love storylines. There's a bit of a weirdness with so Meg, Paul's daughter,
Hmm.
shows up to the wedding and they flirt a little bit. And so I wonder if part of this season is going to be, as we talk about moving forward, is Jason Segel, I call him Jason Segel, but is
Jimmy.
Jimmy, is Jimmy going to, find new love? Is he going to feel guilty about that? Is he going to, I think that's a very realistic way of moving forward with his character
Yeah.
arc.
I think that's the best narrative thread for them to pull with him,
Hmm.
especially because he is on the precipice of having a truly empty nest. It's not just like
Hmm.
when your kid leaves and it's you and your significant other. For him, it's the kid leaving and he's by himself entirely. So he's going to have to go out
Correct.
there and find someone and explore the dating world, which
Yep.
sometimes is great, sometimes is awful. And I'm sure they're going to exploit that for all of its comedic worth.
Oh, absolutely. And then, of course, Lewis had a very brief appearance in this episode, but it seems like he's going to be Brett Goldstein's going to be back. He's obviously an executive producer on the show, so he's around making the show.
It trips me out still seeing him on this show because he talks with his normal accent and it's not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Roy Kent and he doesn't have the big
yep,
bushy beard and everything. So
yep.
I'm always like,
He's a
oh
super nice guy in real life. I met him one time at
yeah, that's
Disneyland.
right,
He
you
was super
did.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, any other thoughts on this first episode, or are we good to ride
No,
this one home?
it's just a delightful like escape from the horrors of modern reality that are occurring around us.
Yeah.
So
So one
it's good.
little
Big
warm
fan.
hug that we'd like to call shrinking. So that's going to do it for this video, folks. I would love to hear from you if you're watching and shrinking. Drop us a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on the first two seasons and how you think the third season has started out. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Make sure to go back. We did a video covering the Oscar nominations and some of the snubs and surprises that was pretty fun. And we're going to have a bunch of videos coming this weekend. We'll have our mid-season review of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We're probably going to talk about Shrinking a few times throughout the course of this season. And then any new movies that come out that we want to talk about, there'll be reviews up here on the channel. So be on the lookout for all of that and so much more. Until next time, see you guys in the next video.